Hey, I'm Matt, and in this video we're going to talk about Guardians of the Galaxy. Oh, and I meant the video game. The game takes us to a time after Thanos has been defeated, and now our team is looking for work in the galaxy. While in the middle of a mission, Peter and Rocket accidentally release a dangerous entity. An entity that now threatens the whole galaxy. The Guardians are now forced to fight a strong enemy and yet again protect everyone. I personally believe that fans are going to like this game, but how can you be sure? Is it really a good game to spend time on? Well, you can decide for yourself after this list of 10 good and bad things in the game, Guardians of the Galaxy. Wait, it contains spoilers. We will start with the 5 good things. Number 1. Beautiful. The game is absolutely beautiful. After a fast intro to the game, you move on to the quarantine zone, which gives you an amazing first impressions of the visuals. The colors of the environment and the landscape are amazing to look at as well, and that is just the beginning. After that, you'll go to many other different and beautiful places, such as Lamentis, Seknarf 9, Maklu 4, and even just being in space is a very delightful thing to look at. I actually really like Lamentis, it's such a beautiful place. The visual effects are detailed and fun, especially in the cutscenes, where you see all kind of wonders and magic-like visuals. I personally found the cutscenes in space as very impressive, but one more part that I want to say about this is that although it's kinda hard to focus on it during combat, but the particle effects are amazing. Number 2. Teamwork. One of the, let's say, unique part of the game is the emphasis on the teamwork. You will encounter a lot of places and events where you need the help of one of your crew members, and each member has certain skill that they can do. Rocket can go through small spaces in order to clear the path, or use his technical abilities to hack and open doors. Drax can move very large objects for you to stand on and break walls to open a path for you to go through. Groot can elevate certain platforms and create bridges for the team to walk on, and Gamora can slide through wires and open a path, and she also got her acrobatic abilities, which she can fixate on a certain wall and help you to get to a higher place. And last but not least, you got Peter with his celestial abilities that allow him to pull, freeze, burn, and electrify different objects. You also have teamwork while in combat, which I will elaborate more about it later in this video. So overall, the teamwork is a very important part of the game. And it's very good because this is what the Guardians of the Galaxy are all about. Number 3. Choices. That is without a doubt one of the most interesting mechanics in the game, in my opinion. Although most choices do not have a very big impact on the story or the game itself, they do have impact on how certain parts in the story are unfolded. For example, and also one of my favorite parts, is that at some point in order to earn money, you'll have the ability to sell either Groot or Rocket. Whichever you will choose will lead to a different type of outcome. If you'll choose to sell Groot, you will get the money, and then you'll have a stealthy type of mission to get to the place where Groot is and save him. However, if you'll choose to sell Rocket, it will lead him to snap during the negotiation and cause mayhem, which will result in you hiding in a safe where you can find the same amount of money, and then you'll need to find a way out. No matter which of these choices that you'll make, it will not make a difference in the overall story. Now there's one more kind of choices that I want to talk about, and these are small choices that will lead to if the character will help you or not. And for this example, I will share the scene where Peter, Nikki, and her mother are talking in an elevator.
You're not my...
Yeah, kiddo. I know.
You ruined it. You ruined everything. Mom was gonna come in and... All I want is to see her.
Whatever walks through that door won't be your mom.
You don't know that.
You'll have some choices to make, and if you'll back up Nikki correctly, she will then give you a passkey that will be useful much later in the game. But if you choose wrong, then you will not get it. Number 4. Story. The story here is basically a journey that starts with a job that is not so simple, and it ends with the team saving the galaxy. This journey leads our precious team to many planets, and with that, meeting many different characters. Although it was a bit hard for me to get into the story at the beginning, I must admit that it was worth the wait. It's really interesting. It got all kind of different situations that aren't necessarily essentials to the main plot, but adding more color to it. There's a part where Rocket and Groot leave the crew due to some feud, and it wasn't really needed in order to tell the story, but it added quite a lot nonetheless. There are also some times where all seems to be lost, as in almost every other Marvel story, but I'm not saying that in a bad way. I really enjoyed meeting all of these new characters and learning a bit more about each member of the team. But what I like the most about the story is that it's simple. It just lets you in on the journey without too much of information that you must consume. Number 5. Combat. The combat itself is repetitive in some ways. You always have more or less the same abilities, and most of the time it doesn't require you to do anything that is majorly different than the previous fights. But with that said, it's also very fun and intense. Each character has 3 different abilities that you can unlock with the skill points, and 1 more ability that you will unlock as the games progress. In addition, there are also environmental elements that gives you the options to use an ability of any of the team members. You as a player also has these kind of abilities, which can help in some cases quite a lot. Although the fights are repetitive, as I stated earlier, it doesn't really feel that way because of the large variety of enemies and abilities that you can use. My favorite abilities are Groot Spikes and Rocket Bomb, even though Gamora's abilities seems to be the deadliest. There's also the case where the situation is seemed to be dire, and in those cases you have the ability to gather up the crew and give them a motivation speech. You'll have the ability to choose between 2 speeches, which one of them will make the team more efficient and aggressive, and the other one will not have that strong of an impact. In some cases, there are also puzzles that you need to solve while in combat, but these are not very complicated. So in general, yeah, the fighting moments are fun, intense, and very entertaining. I have a lot of fun making this video for you guys, and I do want to make more for you. So if you like this kind of content, please consider to leave a like, subscribe, leave a comment, and let's continue with the list. The 5 bad things. Number 1. Loading screens. A loading screen of about 1 to 2 minutes is just too long. Every time you die or choose wrong in crucial moment, the game will throw you back to the beginning of this segment, and with that you'll have a loading screen. And as I stated, it's about 1 to 2 minutes every time. It's already frustrating to do a small mistake that will cost you to lose this part of the game. And it's also already frustrating that you need to go over it all over again. And adding to that, now you get to wait a relatively long time up until you can try it again. Well, that just sucks. I wonder what the Guardians themselves would have had to say about it. But in all seriousness, they could have optimized the loading part to be shorter. There are plenty of big games from 2021 that do that pretty well. Number 2. Upgrades and skills. The upgrading system is pretty simple. You can find resources in each level, and then you'll take these resources to Rocket, and it will give you an option to upgrade your overall capabilities. You can upgrade your health bar, your shield, and all kind of other features that help in combat. The big problem is that you don't really feel any change after each upgrade, and it feels like it's just another wasteful thing to do. I would say that it might not be the case in the hardest difficulty, but do you really need a feature that only have a major impact in the hardest difficulty? Come on. The UI for the upgrades is also not very easy on the eyes, but it's a minor issue. The character's abilities aren't upgradable, but you need to use skill points in order to unlock them. Now it's not a bad thing at all, but it's also not very challenging. It's relatively easy to get these skill points, you just need to win more battles, and there are quite a lot of them. Well, I will say that it's a bit too easy. Number 3. Character's animation. There's not really a lot to say here. In the cutscenes, the character's animation looks great. I have no complaint there. However, there are plenty of moments that are not in cutscenes, where you can talk with other characters, and the animation in these moments are kinda off and very inconsistent. The easiest way to look at it is when Peter and Gamora are talking with each other. It's easier to see their facial expression. In many cases where Peter speaks, the character movements or lack of movements and overall body language does not fit with Peter's tone or voice.
Expected to make the hard call.
She's my daughter.
But I'm the killer. We both know that.
It's not gonna come to that.
And if it does?
But on the other hand, in that same conversation, Gamora's body language and voice are working very well together. It's kinda hard to follow the topic that they are talking about when you constantly ask yourself, why does Peter look like a doll with no emotions? Number 4. Conversation. There are many conversations in the game, during cutscenes, personal conversation with the crew, and general conversations that are between the characters in every level. I actually think that the dialogues are one of the best features that in this game. It's funny, and it also captures the character personality very well. But my problem is with the conversations that are between the characters. And that because they are too long. Between every room or fighting moment in every level, the characters are talking to each other about all kind of things. Most of them are funny to listen to, and you also have the option to join the conversation with a choice that you can make. But if you want to listen to the whole conversation, you'll have to stop advancing in the level or to stay in the same spot until they finish to say what they have to say. And that leads for the game to be longer and for you to have more boring moments. So you most likely continue with the level and never even hear the rest of the conversation. And that happens quite a lot. There were some moments that I got upset because I didn't hear the rest of the conversation. Number 5. Unskippable moment. It's one thing to not be able to skip a certain moment. However, it's a whole other thing that you can't skip cutscenes or almost any other moment, especially if it's something that you already saw. Although the game does allow you to advance faster with the conversation in cutscenes, there are quite a lot of moments without conversations. The first time that it bothered me in the game was also the first time that Peter got his first elemental's abilities. It introduced you to a new mechanic in the game, and it started with a cutscene. After I failed it, I had to rewatch this cutscene again and try and pass this part once more. Imagine failing this part 3 and more times, and you'll have enough of watching the same thing again and again. Adding to that, after each time you fail, you'll have a loading screen. So 1 to 2 minutes of loading screen and then an unskippable cutscene. It's very annoying. And that was the list. In conclusion, the game is funny, beautiful, and can be a lot of fun. I really enjoy the teamwork element, and adding the choices to the mix makes it a very unique experience. However, with every good there's also bad, and the unskippable moments, including the loading screen, are just frustrating. The upgrades are pretty much unnecessary in most gameplays, and skills are just too easy to achieve to put up to the challenge. But overall, the good parts are overscaling the bad parts, so I would rate this game as 9.5 out of 10. If you played this game, please let me know what do you think about it in the comment below. And if you didn't play it, let me know. Do you want to play it? Now thank you so much for watching this up until now. Leave a like, subscribe, and don't forget, enjoy your games.